Hello everyone, and welcome to Babylon Leather's official channel. Today, we'll be crafting a trapezoidal tote bag. After completion, this is what your leather bag looks like. First, check all the materials based on the video. First, let's distinguish between the front and back of the leather materials. Look at the pinholes for differentiation. Larger holes indicate the front side, while smaller holes indicate the back side. Take the small material and the D-ring hardware and assemble them like this. Ensure that the small material is attached internally, and the semicircular part of the hardware is exposed on the outside. Align with the side piece material according to the pinholes. Measure the thread to be 4 times the length of the sewn part, then cut it. Each time, you can measure a bit more thread to ensure that there is more than enough available. Thread the needles. Begin threading the needle by passing the thread through the needle eye. Then, pass the needle tip through the middle of the thread. Tighten it, and that completes the threading of the needle. Thread the other needle using the same method. Start sewing from the first pinhole, guiding the needle from bottom to top. Then, let the second needle pass through the neighboring pinhole. Pull both threads to ensure they remain the same length. Next, have the first needle go through the second pinhole, then tighten the thread. Be careful not to catch the thread. Tighten the thread, and now we successfully start the sewing. Be careful not to mix up the placement orientation. Then keep sewing with the double needle sewing method. Don't miss any pinhole. Be careful not to catch the thread. After each stitch, tighten the thread while maintaining a consistent stitching direction. Make sure to pull the thread vertically to avoid damaging the leather material. After sewing up, start finishing the thread. Begin by sewing one additional stitch backward to reinforce. Then, pull the thread to the back. Leave a 3mm thread tail, cut it, and use a lighter to burn off the end to finish securing the thread. Take a look at the result after sewing. Use the same method to sew the other one. Next, take the side piece material and fold it in half with the outer side facing each other, like this. Measure the thread that is 5 times the length of these 6 pinhole position, and then thread the needles as usual. Start sewing from the first pinhole, and stop after sewing the second pinhole. Next, take the inner pocket material. Align it according to the pinholes, making sure that the inner pocket material sandwiches the side piece material in the middle. Then, thread each needle through the corresponding pinholes on the inner pocket material, starting with the first pinhole. Then keep sewing with the double needle sewing method. After each stitch, tighten the thread while maintaining a consistent stitching direction. Be careful not to catch the thread. Don't miss any pinhole. Make sure to pull the thread vertically to avoid damaging the leather material. Pay attention to these points every time you sew. No more hints later. After sewing, secure the thread using the same method. Be careful not to burn the leather. Take a look at the result after sewing. Use the same method to sew the other one. Measure a length of thread that is 4 times the distance of these 3 edge hole positions, and then thread the needles as usual. Start sewing from the first pinhole in the second row, and then sew through to complete the process as usual. Here, individually sew the lid material for the purpose of aesthetics. After sewing around this circle of pinholes, finish at the first pinhole of the second row on the opposite side. After sewing, secure the thread at the back. These specific pinholes do not need to be sewn. Take a look at the result after sewing. Take a look at the result after sewing. The side where the drawstring is pulled up is the front side. Start sewing from the first pinhole in the second row, and note that the first row here is not sewn. Then keep sewing. After sewing through the 12th pinhole counting from the left, stop. Then align according to these 3 pinholes. Now that the 12th pinhole has been sewn, next, take the bottom needle and thread it through the corresponding pinhole in the bag lid material. Align both materials with their front sides facing up. Align the pinholes. Be careful not to mix up the placement orientation. Then sew through these 3 pinholes as usual. After completing the sewing, single sew the drawstring material. After sewing this row of pinholes, secure the thread at the back. Take a look at the result after sewing. Use the same method to sew the other row of pinholes. 1234. Take a look at the result after both sides have been sewn. Take the back piece material and the bag lid material. Align both materials with their front sides facing up. Align the pinholes. Next, measure a length of thread equivalent to the circumference of this circle of pinholes, and then thread the needle as usual. Start sewing from the first pinhole in the first row, then sew up the entire circle. Note that the bag lid material is on the top side. You can take another needle and, like this, secure the other end first. This will make the sewing process easier. Locate the central hole of both materials. The central hole is significantly larger than the others. When sewing to the marked hole, combine the drawstring material and sew it together as usual. When sewing to the position of the fixed thread, cut off the fixed thread, and then sew as usual. Use the same method to sew it up here. After sewing, secure the thread at the back. Take a look at the result after sewing. Next, take this hardware material and install it like this. Note that the side without screws should be placed on the front. Check the result after installation. Then, take the front piece material, and if the hardware on the front piece is not installed, install it now. That's all you need for normal usage. Measure the thread to be 4 times the length of the sewn part, then thread the needles. Sew through this row of pinholes with one of the needles, and finally, secure the thread on the back. It would be better to secure it with a clip before sewing. Ensure to align the pinholes before fixing. Take a look at the result after sewing. Take the handle material, choose the side with neat and attractive stitches as the front, and then fold it like this. Measure the thread to be 3 times the length of the sewn part, then thread the needles. Align both materials with their front sides facing up. Align the pinholes. Start sewing. The first needle goes from the bottom to the top through the first pinhole of the back piece material. Then sew through the corresponding pinhole of the handle material from bottom to the top. Then keep sewing. Note that the first pinhole on the handle has already been sewn once. Be careful not to sew it incorrectly. Sew forward as usual. After sewing up to the top pinhole, take the needle with the remaining longer thread and single sew upward through this row of pinholes. Note that at this point, only use the needle with the longer thread for sewing, and leave the other one unused. After completing the single stitch, continue forward and sew the remaining pinholes as usual. Finally, secure the thread on the back. Take a look at the result after sewing. Then smooth out the handle material. The other half should also be aligned according to the pinholes and sewn using the same method. The other handle should also be sewn using the same method. Take a look at the result after sewing. Next, take the front piece material and the inner pocket material. With the back side of the front piece material facing up, place the inner pocket material with the opening facing upward. Measure the thread to be 4 times the length of the sewn part, then thread the needles. Start sewing from the first pinhole, then single stitch through the front piece's first 6 pinholes. When sewing the 7th pinhole, include the inner pocket and continue sewing. After sewing, secure the thread at the back. Take a look at the result after sewing. Take the bottom material and align it with the front piece material according to the pinholes. Ensure that the bottom material is on top, with both materials facing upward. Measure the thread to be 5 times the length of the sewn part, then thread the needles. Start sewing from the first pinhole and use the double needle method to keep sewing. After sewing, secure the thread at the back. Take a look at the result after sewing. Next, take the back piece material and sew it using the same method. Take a look at the result after sewing. Measure the thread to be 5 times the length of the sewn part, then thread the needles. Start at the first pinhole and single sew through the row of pinholes. When sewing to this point, when threading the bottom needle through the front, thread it across to the opposite side like this. When threading the top needle through to the bottom, first thread the needle through the bottom as usual. Then, loop the thread around once like this. Then, still using this needle, thread it out from the gap. Then keep sewing with the double needle sewing method. After sewing, secure the thread at the back. Take a look at the result after sewing. Be careful not to sew it incorrectly at this point. Use the same method to sew the other one. Take the bag body material, measure a thread that is 4.5 times the length of this row of pinholes, and then thread the needles as usual. Take the side piece material. Align both materials with their front sides facing up. Start sewing from the first pinhole, first threading through the side piece material and then through the front piece material. Pull both threads to ensure they remain the same length. Then, take one of the needles and loop the thread around it once like this. Then get the bottom needle, sew down one stitch, which is on the side piece. Then thread back through the first pinhole, essentially looping the thread around once in this direction. After that, sew forward as usual. Using the previous method, create a securing stitch. It will facilitate the sewing process. Sew up to the location of the securing stitch, cut off the securing stitch, and then continue sewing. You can guide the needle through the leather layer by layer on the corner, which makes it easier. Sew up to the marked hole and check if it corresponds correctly. If it does, proceed to sew as usual. If it doesn't match, you'll need to take it apart and sew it again. The thread are enough, don't worry about it. After finishing the sewing, loop the thread around using the same method. After sewing, secure the thread inside. Take a look at the result after sewing. Use the same method to sew the other one. Take a look at the result after both sides have been sewn. Then, take the bottom studs and a screwdriver. Insert the screws from the inside out, place the bottom studs on the outside, and then tighten the 4 screws. Then, install the rubber sleeve. Next, fasten the side clasp. The bag is finished. Appreciate your choice of Babylon leather. Thank you for choosing us. Wishing you the acquisition of valuable skills during your time here. If you enjoy our videos, remember to like, comment, and retweet. For more details about this bag, visit the link provided in the profile.